Does God create evil? Turn with me to Isaiah 45, verse 7. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. Now, the first thought you might have is, well, no, of course God doesn't create evil. But look with me at Isaiah 45, verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Now let's go ahead and look here. We'll project here. And we're going to look at the Webster's 1828 dictionary. And so we're looking here at evil. We'll first look at the adjective form. Entry number 1, having bad qualities of a natural kind, mischievous, having qualities which tend to injure or to produce mischief. Now, if you compare that to the second definition, having bad qualities of a moral kind, wicked, corrupt, perverse, wrong, as evil thoughts, evil deeds, evil speaking, and evil generation. So the first definition is bad qualities of a natural kind, and it gives the example of some evil beast hath devoured. The second one is having bad qualities of a moral kind. Let's look at the noun form. Evil is natural or moral. Natural evil is anything which produces pain, distress, loss, or calamity, or which in any way disturbs the peace, impairs the happiness, or destroys the perfection of natural beings. Moral evil is any deviation of a moral agent from the rules of conduct prescribed to him by God or by legitimate human authority, or it is any violation of the plain principles of justice and rectitude. So what is that telling us? Evil has at least two senses. There's a natural sense and a moral sense. The moral sense is easy to understand. That's what we normally think of when we think of evil. It's something that is wicked, unrighteous, sinful, wrong. That's moral evil. Natural evil is something that is just evil that exists as part of nature. So, for example, disease would be something that is natural evil. A thunderstorm or a cyclone or something like that would be natural evil. Now, if you return with me to Isaiah 45, verse 7, I form the light and create darkness. I make the peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Look with me then also at verse 18. Isaiah 45:18. For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else. So that verse does not have evil in it. I thought it did. The thing to note, I'll just give you a couple examples of this. If you think of the flood, for example, or the plagues upon Egypt, or judgments during the 70th week, those are examples of where God pours out evil. But is God unrighteous in so doing? In other words, when God flooded the earth, did he sin? Did he engage in some moral evil where it was an unjustified, unrighteous act to flood the earth? The obvious answer is no. It was a just pouring out of wrath. So that evil was not a moral evil, it was a natural evil. Look with me at James 1, verse 13. I want to look at several verses and just prove the point that while God creates natural evil, he never creates moral evil. So James 1, verse 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. When it says God cannot be tempted with evil, that's a reference to moral evil. God is not tempted by anything that is unrighteous or wicked. Get Habakkuk 1, verse 13. Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 13. Habakkuk 1:13. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil. Well, what kind of evil is that? That's moral evil. And canst not look on iniquity. Wherefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he. So God has purer eyes than to behold evil. Get Hebrews 6, verse 18. Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 18. That by two immutable things, in which it was impossible for God to lie, we might have a strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. Hebrews 6:18 says that it is impossible for God to lie. Titus 1:2 says that God cannot lie. And the fact of the matter is, God cannot lie because he cannot do something that is dishonest. He cannot sin. He cannot engage in an act of unrighteousness. And that is why he does not create moral evil. Any evil he creates is natural evil. Get 1 John 1:5. 1 John chapter 1 and verse 5. This then is the message which we have heard of him and declare unto you, that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Deuteronomy 32, verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 4. He is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment, a God of truth and without iniquity. Just and right is he. So God is a God of truth. He's without iniquity. He's just and right. He does not engage in moral evil. Psalm 5, verse 4. Psalm chapter 5 and verse 4. For thou art not a God that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. Yet Amos chapter 3, verse 6. Amos chapter 3 and verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord hath not done it? Now, that evil there, what kind is that? Well, that's natural evil, right? Calamity is something that God creates. It's not moral evil, it's not wicked. We'll get one more. Get Job 2, verse 10. Job chapter 2 and verse 10. Job 2:10. Now this is Job speaking. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. So did Job receive evil? Yes, he did. Was it God pouring out moral evil? No, it was natural evil in the sense of calamity that he experienced. So back to the original question, does God create evil? God never creates moral evil because he never does anything that's unrighteous or sinful or wicked. He's not tempted with evil. He's purer than to behold evil. He doesn't engage in moral evil. Does God create natural evil in the sense of calamity and judgment and the pouring out of wrath? Yes, he does that. But every time he does that, it is a righteous act. It is never something that is wicked or sinful.